Hello and welcome to Shaaz Designs. Usually we sit together and create Procreate tutorials step by step. But today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to create this illustration from start to finish, and while the artwork comes to life, I'll tell you the story behind this little white falcon. Everyone has wings, but not everyone remembers how to fly. And while I draw this little white falcon today, I want to tell you a story about something that can quietly happen to all of us, getting too comfortable. So let's start. Long ago, in a distant kingdom, there lived a king who loved beautiful and unusual things. One day, he received a magnificent gift from a distant ruler, a beautiful white falcon. The messenger told him, "Your Majesty, this bird can fly higher than the clouds and faster than the winds." The king was fascinated. He imagined looking up from his palace every morning and watching this beautiful bird soar across the sky. So he placed it in a beautiful golden cage, gave it food, gave it water, and even gave it a comfortable little branch to sit on it. But after a few days, the king noticed something strange. The falcon wouldn't fly. Every morning the king would open the cage and say, "Go, the sky is yours." But the bird would simply stay on its branch. It wouldn't move, it wouldn't spread its wings. It would just sit there. Days became weeks and still nothing. The king became worried. He brought experts from all over the kingdoms. They tried to train the bird. They encouraged it. They waited, but the falcon simply returned to the same branch. Eventually, people started saying, maybe the bird can't fly. Maybe something is wrong with its wings. Maybe it was never meant to soar. But the king didn't believe them, because every time he looked at that bird, he could see the wings. He knew they were there. He just couldn't understand why the bird refused to use them. Then one day an old farmer came to the palace. He heard about the king's problem and quietly said, "Your Majesty, may I try?" The king had already tried everything, so he agreed. The farmer went to the cage the next morning. He looked at the falcon, he looked at the branch, and then he did something very simple. He removed the branch. And suddenly the falcon had nowhere to sit. Its wings opened, it moved forward and began to fly. The king couldn't believe what he was seeing. The bird that everyone thought couldn't fly was now soaring high above the palace. The king turned to the farmer and asked, "How did you do it?" The farmer simply replied, "I didn't teach the bird to fly. I only removed the branch it had become too comfortable sitting on." And I think that's the part of the story that stays with me. Because sometimes I think we do something very similar. We stay with what is familiar, we stay with what feels safe, and we tell ourselves we're waiting for the right time. And when sometimes we're simply afraid to leave the branch. Maybe it's a dream we've been postponing. Maybe it's something we've always wanted to try. Maybe it's simply taking one small step outside our comfort zone. And I'm not saying we should suddenly throw away everything that makes us feel safe. Not at all. I think comfort is important. But sometimes it's worth asking ourselves, is this keeping me safe or is it keeping me still? Because the falcon always had wings. It just needed to discover what happened when it finally used them. And that's the little story behind today's illustration. I hope you enjoyed not only watching this white falcon come to life in Procreate, but also the thought behind the drawing. And if you enjoyed this slightly different style of video, let me know in the comments. I'd love to create more little stories while drawing different illustrations here on Shaaz Designs. Thank you for spending a few minutes creating and thinking with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Shaaz Designs. Until next time, happy creating!